So, Sanjeev, you went to a mainstream school,
Yeah.
and obviously that you've got a disability. Um, but was the did you get taught about like relationships and the relationship at school?
Yeah, we did kind of. Do you mean like as in teachers or just generally with my pals and stuff?
Yeah, good a bit of good kind of both, you know.
Yeah, you got kind of the normal kind of sex education that anybody else would. I would just the same. So yeah, we kind of got taught about that sort of stuff.
And I mean, I know that you went to a mainstream school, and I've spoke to a few people that went to a disability school, but they haven't got the
Yeah,
same education as you. So,
yeah, yeah.
what what are what do you think are some of the barriers facing people with a disability getting into a relationship?
Just generally, yeah. I
Yeah,
think. Um, yeah, I think obviously for some people with disabilities, like it's harder to meet folk like when you're out and stuff because, like somebody saying, people can't like speak as loud as other people or they've got like hearing impairment, so it's hard. Like you know what it's like in the pub. Like for me, it's really difficult to talk to people in the pub because obviously, firstly, my height is because I'm in a wheelchair, I'm a bit lower, and secondly, I can't really talk as loud as other people. So that's kind of it's hard to meet people when you're out in the pub and that kind of thing. Um, but other and then when it comes to online, I feel like a lot of people really like judge people straight away by looks. So yeah, so they judge that they can also see the wheelchair, and a lot of people kind of they don't know what to think. Um, I think a lot of it comes down to kind of education. I don't think it's that they're
mm,
deliberately thinking again that deliberately thinking, oh, peace in a wheelchair, that's bad. I think it's more like education. They don't really understand what the kind of ins and outs are. That's still a problem, but I'd say that's why.
see, I think that's a good point that you make there, Sanjeev, because that they see the wheelchair and don't see the person. You know,
Yeah,
like it should be the other way about. It should be the person, and then the kind of disability become, second or third or
yeah,
fourth. You know.
yeah.
Uh, so I mean, does that kind of like get you down at times, or
Yeah, it does. I think it does kind of get you down that people are kind of vain and people do. I don't know even know if it's judged, but it's just yeah, they're just not educated on what different disabilities are. And a lot of people are always afraid to ask when they should just ask. And yeah, like I can answer them and then they'll be more educated on different sort of conditions. But yeah, it does get me down because sometimes I feel like it's a lot more difficult for us to kind of be in a relationship and things like that. But may not be just to be in, get into a relationship in the first place. It's definitely a lot more difficult. Yeah,
and are you in a kind of like relationship at the moment?
no, I'm not at the moment. No.
No. Uh, so you say that there's more like awareness raising to be done in terms of
Yeah,
relationships, not only by mainstream schools, because I know that you went to a mainstream school, but as I said, like some people that went to a kind of ASN or disability school
yeah,
that doesn't have the same education.
yeah.
And why do you think that? Is it because you think that the teachers would say, well, it's too much information to process when you've got a disability, or do you think they're very kind of ignorant to that a wee bit?
I feel generally it's quite ignorant. I think generally my views for towards special school isn't that great because I just feel like if you look at maybe like the percentage that move on to higher education compared to a mainstream school, kind of probably I don't know the stats, but is probably a lot different. And I feel like sometimes they kind of put all disabled people in one category, where, like, for example, me, like, it doesn't affect, like, my way of thinking, it doesn't affect, like, my kind of ability to kind of do whatever. So, like, it's purely physical for me. So I think it'd be unfair if I was, like, in the same as all disabled people, where yeah, they kind of go at a slower pace or it's more one to one, when it just slowing your ability to kind of, yeah, go through school and then go to higher education. For some reason, like special schools, it just seems to be like it's not really something to think about. You probably know better than me, but yes, higher education isn't really something that they think about when they're learning. They don't think that their pupils are going to go to a uni or college. So yeah, it's probably quite kind of ignorant, and I think the general curriculum for special schools, I think, should change, depending on what disability you have. Like, it's unfair to just to lump it all together as one.